I'm Kaitlin.
And I'm Jillian.
And we are the hosts of the OK Drama podcast.
We're two friends recap and break down K-dramas one episode at a time.
We are back with episode 14 of Descendants of the Sun. And last episode was pretty crazy. I think Jill and I were both on the verge of tears.
Just talking about it, just imagining what happened.
Just Mo-yeon's face when she, sees Shijin.
And I really didn't want to relive that scene again.
No.
And they always show the previous last scene.
Yep.
The beginning of the next episode. Ugh.
Yeah, it's rough, but I think this episode has a lot in store for us, so let's jump in. So we'll start the episode the way we start every episode by going over the synopses from Cocoa on Hulu. The Cocoa synopsis says, Shijin came into the ER covered in blood, and Mo-yeon tried to resuscitate him. However, his vitals got weaker. Captain An, who came with Shijin, caused a situation at the hospital. ... And
Hulu says, Mo-yeon rushes to treat the patient that has just arrived in the ambulance. As the doors open, before her eyes is Shijin, unconscious and completely covered in blood. No matter how hard she does CPR on him, his vitals just keep getting weaker and weaker.
Yikes. This is the first 5 minutes of the show.
I know. My God.
They leave out.
Well, I guess for viewers, it's the most important part.
Yeah.
Because
true.
It's the main character, basically.
Almost dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane. And we're going to talk about this later, but I think it's crazy that basically Mo-yeon was the only one who was trying to save him.
Everyone's just watching.
Yeah. And at one point, Chi-hoon's kind of I think it's done or something like that.
Yeah, I have a little bit on that later too.
Okay,
so we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. So, episode 13 starts with the two patients arriving at the hospital. First, we see the North Korean soldier. That's Lieutenant An, or Captain An, I guess Cocoa is calling him. I don't know. Let's just call him An. And then Mo-yeon sees that the second patient is Shijin. And again, her reaction makes us want to cry, so rough. And then you see her kind of wheeling him through the ER, and she's doing that classic drama, also American or Western drama, where people are talking to someone who's on a hospital bed,
while
stay
they're
with
rushing
me,
him.
Can you hear me? Whatever, don't leave or whatever.
Yeah,
stay with me.
That whole beginning scene, I was laying on the sofa watching with Andrew, and I had the blanket up to my face, and I'm just I'm just gonna hold my breath because I can't take this.
Yeah, Andrew said, I think that you guys weren't talking.
Yeah,
for,
we were both just really tense, just come on,
make it
pull through.
So then we flash back to Shijin and the North Korean soldier to see what exactly went down. So basically, it turns out that when he was approaching them, he wanted to be sent back to North Korea. And it looks like he's in some sort of trouble. He looks pretty concerned. And Shijin and Daeyoung are what the hell? So before they can, get to the bottom of it, this van comes and basically starts shooting up the place and, tries to kidnap him, basically. And so then Shijin and Daeyoung kind of get into a shootout in the parking garage. And
at this point, I was use your little earpiece to call somebody.
I know.
What are you doing?
I was trying to think back to the previous episode. Where the fuck was everybody? They all get out of cars and just the two of them are just enjoying the Snickers or where the fuck was everyone else?
It's just so long before Shijin starts trying to contact someone. Why are you trying to do this alone? It's a van full of people.
Yeah.
That should have been your first thing when you saw that guy coming, was hey, back up now.
I know. It's you are a trained soldier, right? What's going on?
Because also when he's first walking towards them, he's walking fast and he's on a mission, and it looks like he's gonna fucking murder them.
Yeah.
So I feel at that point I would have been
Help.
Security. Security for security, please.
Again, probably shouldn't be in the military.
No. Help.
I'm gonna need some help with this. But I like all the shots of like Shijin like jumping over cars,
sliding and shit. Yeah,
I think in the behind the scenes you learn that I think he actually got injured during one of those like stunts because he wanted to do a lot of his own stunts, and I think most of the like actors in the drama did a lot of their own stunts, or at least Shijin or Sung Jin Ki did. But yeah, he got injured, and then I think he was kind of bummed, and it was a whole thing. But anyway, Lieutenant An is kidnapped, or Captain. I don't know. Did my subtitle said Lieutenant? Did yours? Subtitles?
I thought it said Lieutenant, if I remember correctly.
We're just going to say that the Cocoa synopsis is wrong then. Because that really threw me for a loop. Okay, so the shootout. He's sliding across cars, and then we're back in the hospital, and he is not doing well, but Moyeon is not...
sweaty, too.
Yeah, he's like...
kind of pasty.
Yeah, he does not look good. It almost looks like he's in like that cold sweat sort of thing where he just kind of looks damp.
Yeah.
And also like super bloody. But Moyeon is not giving up on him because she loves him. And I said, but it seems like Chi-hoon did. And I said, what the fuck, Chi-hoon? Like...
Yeah, he was real quick to be like, well, guess he's dead. And I thought that was so weird considering his reaction to a fucking stranger in Urk.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he couldn't save that person and was losing his mind. Like, you know Shijin. You've interacted with him. Like, y'all were basically living together in this little fucking military unit. Like...
What the fuck?
You're not gonna try?
I know, because what does he say? But it's something like... He doesn't say, like, we lost him, but it's something to that effect, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's something like, he's gone.
Yeah.
Moyeon, he's gone. Give it up.
Like, Jesus.
Yeah, that was weird.
I know.
Urk really hardened him.
Yeah, after Kang Min-jae was like, I guess you're kind of a doctor, he was like, I'm just gonna stop caring about people.
They make it, they make it. If not, oh well.
At least I'm back in Korea.
We cut back to see Shijin stop the van with very quick thinking. So he basically is like counting down, and then he shoots a fire extinguisher, and it does all this bullshit in the van, like loses control. But as they're losing control, they end up shooting him a bunch of times in the process. And then it cuts to him on the ground and the backup coming, including Young. And Young is just like running towards him, and he looks so concerned. His best friend, his baby boy, he's on the ground. He's bleeding. It looks bad. So he's running towards him, and it's a super intense, like, slow motion scene. And then we cut back to the hospital. Moyeon is basically on top of him at this point, and she's like punching his chest, basically, calling him a bastard and asking him, why did you come to me like this? And then he wakes up and, in typical Shijin fashion, starts making a joke, saying, hey, that hurts. And I'm just like, how do you always joke? Like, you basically were just fucking brought back to life. How are you joking right now? I can't imagine joking in that situation.
I know. I would be like, we're done.
Fuck you. Yeah, she's at the point where she's just freaking out, going back and forth, like asking him, are you okay? And if you'd gotten here a minute late, I wouldn't have been able to save you. And like,
super scary.
What the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I know. It's a lot.
Yes.
So Shijin kind of like blows her off and doesn't really answer any of her questions.
Typical.
Yeah, I know. He basically does a thing where he's like, wow, you look really pretty, but where's Lieutenant An? Like,
yeah. By the way, the other guy.
Yeah, and then Moyeon is like, WTF, like, let's address what just happened to you, because again, you almost died.
You almost died and you're asking about him.
Yeah, and so she's like, who is this? Did he do this to you? Again, like, reasonable questions. And then Nurse Choi comes and she says that the North Korean guy is wreaking havoc on the hospital. So then we cut to him, and he has our favorite Nurse Ha held hostage with a scalpel. Super scary.
She's keeping her calm, though.
Yeah, she's a boss.
As usual, she's badass.
Totally. So he has her hostage, and one of the Alpha Team guys is pointing a gun at him, and Nurse Ha's trying to tell him that he'll bleed out if he doesn't get treated. So again, it's really intense because they're like, let her go, and he's like, drop your weapon, and she's like, you're gonna bleed out. So like, everyone's
and then he,
yelling.
Like, falls at some point too. Like, oh, it's crazy.
So Shijin comes and he tries to mediate the situation, well, he's also still, like, fucking a bloody mess and, like, should not be walking around. And so he's, like, trying to tell Lieutenant An that he needs to be treated, but Lieutenant An doesn't trust the South Korean soldiers. He's afraid that he won't either, like, they won't treat him correctly or properly, or they'll, like, purposefully let him die because he's North Korean. And Shijin's like, dude, you don't really have a choice. And then he, like, passes out. So, yeah. So they take him to the OR, and Shijin requests that Yeon operate on him. And, like, honestly, she looks pretty pissed. And she tells everyone to, like, keep an eye on Shijin. And if he tries to leave, like, tie him up. And if he misbehaves, hit him. That was a quote.
Yes, I like that.
So then we cut to the OR, and Yeon and Dr. Song are operating on Lieutenant An, and while they are taking out all the bullets and stuff, she sees, like, a mark on his arm, and she's like, what's this?
That's not a bullet.
Yeah, so they cut it open, and they take something out of him. Then we cut to Dae-young briefing that jerky commander guy. And
that guy.
I know.
God.
He plays, I think I've said this before,
yes.
but he's a character in Goblin. And I just can't separate the two, but he's like a fucking awful character in Goblin too.
That's just his role. That's his
go-to
I think
role. It's his face.
He's been typecast.
Yeah, it's just a terrible person. Dae-young is briefing him, and they're, like, basically just trying to figure out what happened. And on the surface, it looks like Lieutenant An was being pursued by, quote, armed diplomats of a foreign country because he used a fake passport to get into South Korea. But the Alpha team is like, no, that's total BS. Like, if you saw what happened, it was basically just, like, a carrier van full of dudes. Yeah. Like, those guys aren't diplomats. So then Yeon is back with Shijin, and he asks her how he is, and how, like, Lieutenant An is.
How am I?
Yeah. And basically he's fine. He made it out of surgery, blah, blah, blah. But then Yeon gets after Shijin for not resting and not giving Yeon an explanation and not seeming to care what Yeon went through. Seeing Shijin like that. And again, like, valid points because you're her boyfriend, dude. Like, this is real shit. And
he said, like, you won't see me like that. Like, you're not going to see me hurt. You're not going to, like, you're not going to deal with that.
Yeah, like.
And then she does.
Yes. He's like, you won't, whatever you're afraid of, it won't happen.
And then it happens, like, the next day. God.
Of course. So then she kind of teases Shijin with something, but then Dae-young comes in, and he puts Lieutenant An in the same room as Shijin. So basically, the military is taking over the room. And Yeon is kind of like, what's going on? Like, she has no control over the situation at this point, basically.
And they're the military, so, like, they have all the control.
Yes.
It doesn't fucking matter who you are.
Exactly. So once the whole room thing has been settled, Yeon meets up with Dae-young and gives him a little vial thing with a little SD, like, micro SD chip in it. And apparently it was in Lieutenant An's body. And she took it out during the surgery. So
nice.
Gross.
Yeah. And then we cut to the annoying Dr. Kim, who I don't think anyone can stand.
No.
And she's hanging out with Lee Chi-hoon and another nurse, and they're talking about Lieutenant An and whether he's a North Korean soldier, blah, blah, blah. And Dr. Kim is kind of just like, can we treat a North Korean person? Like, should we be doing that? And it's like, damn, you're a doctor?
Yeah.
Where are your morals? And Lee Chi-hoon comes in, and he's kind of like, of course, like, we take an oath. This is our job, to try to help people. Unless they look dead. Then we give up.
I know. But I love how Lee Chi-hoon is so matter-of-fact. Like, yeah, we took an oath. Like, duh.
And then he starts talking about how, like, this is nothing compared to Urk. And he starts talking about everything that went on there. And she's kind of staring at him like, sure, Jan. No.
Yeah.
You're crazy. None of that happened. She has no fucking clue. It's really interesting how I don't think anything that they went through really translates back to South Korea. You know, like, their stories, just like when Yeon was telling her friend about things that happened, and her friend was like, what?
Yeah, like, that's not real.
Like, it doesn't seem believable because it was so much that was happening, one thing after another. It's really interesting. But then, as they're talking, we then see Dr. Song run in, and he comes to check on Nurse Hall after finding out that she had been held hostage. And then he realized that he just operated on that person.
So funny.
And he's kind of like, oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, basically like, let me at him, let me out. And then she's like, yeah, you just saved that guy's life. And he's like, oh,
what?
Man.
And then, of course, we have Dr. Kim, who's grilling Moyeon about Shijin. Like, who is he? How can he date someone like him? Like, what's his deal? This North Korean, blah, blah, blah. And Moyeon is just kind of like, I don't know. The chairman's paging me. I gotta go. Turns around and walks away. Which is kind of badass because on the one hand, it leaves Dr. Kim kind of like, what? Like, why isn't she playing along and fighting back with me? You know, like, why aren't we doing this back and forth like usual? But also, like, I don't think she wants to respond to this sort of situation because she doesn't even know. Right. And she's pissed off. You know, like, of course she is.
Yes, definitely. And, like, I feel like Dr. Kim is actually raising, like, points in Moyeon's head again.
Yeah, and that's I don't think something she wants to talk about.
No, totally.
Especially with her.
Yeah. So then the remaining doctors and nurses in the area start going through all of Lieutenant On's stuff. Like, they bring
I like how they're kind of just like, oh, here's the stuff.
Yeah.
Real nosy.
Chismoso. So and Lee Chi-hoon is like, oh, cool. All this stuff is from North Korea. Like it's a
this
novelty.
Pen is made in North Korea.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he takes the pen and he tries to write with it, but it doesn't work. So then Dr. Song is like, give me that. And he says, when a pen doesn't work, just put some saliva on it. So he goes to, like, lick it, kind of like how you do. Or I don't. But...
yeah, I don't either. I just, like, rub it harder on the paper. Like, God damn it.
Like, but you see people in movies.
Yeah. They're always like, yeah. I don't know how that works.
No. So right when he's about to do that, Yeon comes by and, like, grabs the pen right out of his hand and takes the basket with the rest of the belongings, and he whispers something in Dr. Song's ear. So then Dr. Song looks super freaked out and explains that it wasn't a normal pen, it's a pen with poison, and I almost died just now.
I like when he faints and he, like, falls on top of Nurse Hall. Yeah. He's so ridiculous. I love him.
And I also love, so, like, when he was getting ready to, like, lick the pen, basically, he had his tongue sticking out a little bit, and he, like, starts talking with his tongue sticking out, like he's frozen.
In disbelief and fright.
Like, I almost died. It's so funny. Like, I love how the show throws in those little, like, comedic relief moments.
Especially in such intense scenes. Like,
yeah. Dr. Song is hilarious. So then we get to the chairman, and he's being really fussy, of course, with the Alpha team. And Moyeon is there, and basically he's just, like, upset because all this shit is going down, and he's kind of blaming it all on Moyeon.
Her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Her problem.
But again, he's being kind of, like, weird and jealous, asking if Shijin lost the fight. Like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I bet he lost.
Oh my God.
Like, wow, God, get over it.
How old are you?
I know. But,
and again, you're a chairman of a fucking hospital.
Like, super unprofessional.
I know.
You can, like, it's one thing to think those things in your head or, like, tell you, like, your friend over drinks or something, but to say that out in front of everyone, like, in front of Shijin's colleagues.
In front of his girlfriend, in front of your colleague.
Yeah.
Like, insane.
Jesus. So, okay. So then we cut to Shijin trying to interrogate Lieutenant On, but he is not responding to anything. And so Shijin and the commander keep asking if he wants to seek political asylum. But again, he doesn't respond, and Shijin says that the only thing that he said so far is send me back to the north. So they're all confused as to why he would sneak into South Korea only to try to go back to the north. And I said, side note, I think it's really funny that Shijin is interrogating Lieutenant On while he's in his hospital outfit.
Because Moyeon won't let him leave.
Yeah. It's like so serious. And we'll post a picture on Instagram. But they're, like, the South Korean hospital outfits, it's like, they almost look like pajamas. Like, it's like a button-up, and, like, pants of the same material, and they're like pastel yellow and green.
And he just looks tiny.
And he's like, it looks like he's a young man in pajamas interrogating this like intense North Korean
hard soldier.
I just thought it was an interesting look for a serious scene.
Yeah. After that interrogation, or I guess non-interrogation, because nothing happened, that jerk commander, do you know his name, by the way? I never remember it.
I don't either.
Jerk commander.
We're just going with, he's the one guy we can't remember the name.
For obvious reasons. He and Sao Young are talking about Lieutenant On and what he's hiding from them. And so their theory is that the story of him being on leave was just a cover-up for a secret mission, but it seems like something went wrong, and he's now lying in this hospital bed. Like, he's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And Sao Young shows the commander the microchip Moyan found, and the guy takes it to figure out what's on it. And after that, commander is freaking out because they have nothing, and all that Snoopy has gotten from monitoring their room is Shijin talking about buckwheat noodles that they had during lunch the first summit. And Sao Young kind of gives a little smirk, and it's super cute. That commander doesn't see him kind of smiling. I think he's like slightly behind him.
Yeah.
But he's kind of just like, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, because they're saying like, no, you should really put the mustard and like the vinegar.
So funny. And then the guy from the Blue House calls, and he gets after the commander and saying basically like they need to figure something out quick because the rep from North Korea is already here for the summit, and it's going to take place the next day, and they'll need to turn Lieutenant On over, or there will not be any more summits. So they're kind of in a diplomatic issue here. They need to figure things out. They need to work things out, get things put away kind of cleanly.
Yeah, like they need to figure it out. Like basically Lieutenant On is going with the North Koreans whether or not they figure shit out, and so they better figure shit out.
Otherwise, they're fucked.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then we learn that Lieutenant On is on the Interpol wanted list for murder.
Why?
And I know. Ooh. And apparently he was found in Japan, and it looks like he murdered a fellow North Korean soldier. And then it flashes back to that first episode when Shijin was fighting with another guy. It's like, oh, okay. It's such a weird, like, confusing chain of events that's happening in this episode. I feel like so many weird flashbacks, and it's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's like tying back to things like you kind of forgot about.
Yeah, and it's just crazy because seeing last episode, I totally thought this guy was the one who shot him.
Oh yeah,
I totally thought Lieutenant On was the one who like shot him or stabbed him or did something. It was just like the way he was walking, and it was so intense.
Totally,
and it just like totally fucking flips on us.
Such a good twist.
Yeah, I know. So that North Korean soldier that he supposedly murdered had links to the Yakuza. Pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Which is the Japanese mafia. And Sao Young and Shijin are now trying to figure out a plan onto how to get him to talk before they turn him over in the morning. So they're kind of putting little pieces together, but not enough to get the full story and figure everything out.
Yeah. So then Yeon goes into the room to check up on Lieutenant On. And again, Shijin is in there with him because they're like roommates. And so she starts going through all of Lieutenant On's injuries, and she kind of gets after both Shijin and On for being so reckless. Like she's like, this bone didn't heal right, and you still have shrapnel in your back. Like it's crazy.
I'm surprised you're alive.
Yeah, like it's crazy that you're not paralyzed. Blah blah blah. And so then like she makes her way over to Shijin. And then she starts talking shit about that commander guy. And he's like...
She, like, calls him a fish something.
Yeah.
And I forget what she calls him.
He looks like a rock mouth fish. Which I think it's a type of fish they eat over there. But yeah. Basically calling him a fish face.
That's funny.
But yeah, so basically she's talking all sorts of shit about that guy. And then Shijin has to, like, jump out of bed and, like, cover her face and like, he writes on her and, like... We're being recorded. Like, this room is wiretapped. And I love her reaction. Like, she's like, oh, like, she does that thing where she covers her mouth. And then we, like, cut to the room where they're, like, monitoring all the audio. And, like, Snoopy's face and the commander's face are just, like, priceless. Because the commander's like, just
Wait, what?
shocked. Yeah.
Who is she talking about?
Yeah, and then Snoopy's trying like super hard not to laugh.
Snoopy, who doesn't like Moyan, but I think in that moment was like, fuck yeah. Said what everybody's thinking, like talking about what an asshole he is.
Yeah, and she's like, does he think I work for him? Or like, I am so that person. Like, I hate it when people try to boss me around when they're like, not
They
my
have no
boss.
right.
Yes. I'm right there with her. So then she's like, okay, yeah, like she tries to play it off. And Shijin is being pretty smooth and is secretly like setting up a place where him and Lieutenant On can talk privately. Like he's like, how's your mom doing? And like, so they're kind of talking in code.
And this is because Lieutenant On won't talk to him because he knows
They're
they're being wiretapped.
Yeah.
He's onto it.
Yeah. So then Moyan has the awkward run-in with the jerky colonel guy, and she's so funny. Like she's so good in this episode. I think we say that every episode.
Yeah, she's just great. She's a great actress.
She is. And so yeah, she's like, "Oh, I just wanted to give you a hug." So funny.
His expressions too in that moment, like he knows she was just talking about him. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
And he kind of gives her this look like, what?
Okay, bitch. So after the run-in with the colonel, she goes to her best friend, Dr. Pio's office, and like, I think she's trying to secure everything for the meeting place, and she's kind of like filling her in on what's going down. And Dr. Pio is like, what the hell are you talking about? And again, because she's like, she can't believe that stuff like this is actually happening.
That rooms are wiretapped.
And like North Korean soldiers are being here, and there's like shit going
Things
down.
are blocked off.
And Moyan is really funny because she's like super intense, and she's really cute. She's like, I'm working for the nation right now. Like, if it betrays me, like, remember me. All this.
And Dr. Pio is just like, oh, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
What is your problem?
I feel like I would be like Moyan, and you would be like Dr. Pio. I'd be like, Jill, if they try to frame me for something,
Caitlin, calm down. Where's Alice?
I know. So dramatic.
Then we see Shijin and Lieutenant On talking, and apparently North Korean Special Forces soldiers were being sold as mercenaries in the black market for the mafia and the Yakuza, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Lieutenant On's mission was to figure out who was doing it. So he was on sort of like a secret mission, detective work here. And they talk a little bit more, and Shijin gives On the copy of the chip and asks what's on it. Because they can't crack whatever the password is, whatever that code is. So they're still working on it, but haven't figured it out. And On just swallows it dry, which just made me think of Richard, who's still alive somewhere. Don't know where he's at this point.
No.
I don't know if he'll show up later, but right now it's like a nice little reminder of Richard.
And then I was thinking, like, so the first time he, like, fucking cut his arm open and just shoved that microchip in his arm and just sewed it up.
Ooh. No, thank you.
No, I know. Again, just put in a balloon.
Do something more comfortable.
But at least, like, a micro SD chip is, like,
really
way
small.
smoother than a diamond. Like, 17 diamonds or whatever Richard was doing.
God. Jesus. But yeah, he swallows it and basically tells Shijin, like, none of your business. I'm not telling you. And then Shijin tells On that the North Korean security officer guy is there to pick him up, and he'll be transferred back to North Korea in the morning. And this seems to trouble On. He knows something's fucked up waiting for him, but he just doesn't want to say what. After that, we see Moyan and Shijin talking in a stairwell, and she's still super flustered about everything she's endured that day. And he tells her it'll all be over soon, and thank you for helping. She's nervous that she's being wiretapped in that staircase to the stairwell. She's just kind of all over the place right now. She's crazy. And then we get to a crazier moment.
Yeah.
Because Lieutenant On manages to escape from his room in an intense fashion. He basically takes an oxygen tank, breaks a window with it, scales the building. I don't know what floor he's on, but it looks dangerous as fuck.
Like, super high.
Yeah. And then he jumps through another window, but then Shijin comes also in like a badass, catches him, And he realizes that the guy coming to pick up On is actually the traitor. And he's framed On for everything. Mm-hmm. So now we see why he needs to get out of there.
Yeah. So at this point, we realize, like, On doesn't want to go back through the proper channels. Mm-hmm. Like, he wants to sneak back into North Korea.
He's got business to do as a soldier who is there, like, for his country.
Yeah.
His whole thing is, like, this is for my country. This is for the North. I am trying to do what I'm supposed to do as a soldier.
Mm-hmm. So he is begging Shijin to let him go. And that if he dies, he wants to die in the North. But Shijin doesn't give in. And then he gives him a Chocopie as a farewell gift. And we see Lieutenant On being driven somewhere by South Korean guys. So at this point, it's kind of like, we're done. Like, he's on his way out.
He's screwed.
Yes. So
I will say, this guy On reminds me a lot of Shijin.
Yeah.
In his personality, like, his, just the way he feels about his country.
Yeah.
You know?
Super
and, like,
patriotic.
Yeah. Willing to do whatever it takes. Willing to die for his country and do anything he has to. Unlike that commander, the jerky commander.
Yeah, like, they're both sticking up for, like, what is right, not what their superiors
supposed to do.
Are telling them to do. So then we see Mo-yeon giving Shijin a hard time about the broken windows and all of the other shit that's gone down since he's been admitted.
Her place of work.
Yes. And I think it's really funny how submissive he can be with her. Like, when she's getting after him, like, I think he starts to kind of, like, lean back, like, oh, I don't feel good. And she's like, sit up. Like, so she tells him to stay put and to rest while she works, and she'll be back in a few hours to check on him. And then, of course, we see Shijin getting ready to leave.
Of course, naturally.
So, after that, Dr. Jang and Dr. Pyo are chatting, and fucking terrible Dr. Kim comes up to them and starts bullying them for no reason.
Like,
And
what is this, high school?
I know, like, she's
Who are
terrible.
you?
Because it's not like they're sitting at lunch and she's just, like, kind of firing shots. Like, she goes up to them, like, two people who are already having a separate conversation.
Not bringing her up, not talking about anything that has to do anything with her.
Yeah, like...
She just fucking drops herself in.
Yeah, and this was probably her worst bullying yet, I think.
I agree.
So basically, she says that Dr. Jang, which is again Lee Chi-hoon's fiance and baby mama, shouldn't wear scrubs when she's so huge because it'll make the patients feel uneasy. Which, okay. Also, side note, I think Dr. Jang is a really cute pregnant person, even if it's like a fake belly. Like, she just looks sweet. And then she tells Dr. Pyo, who's in a wheelchair, that she should always wear her doctor's gown or else people will think she's a patient. Like, what the fuck? That is terrible.
Totally uncalled for. Like, unnecessary shots fired here. Like, why?
Really ableist.
Jesus.
Like, oh god. It's so bad. So then Dr. Jang conveniently goes into labor.
Finally.
Yes. We've been wondering when that baby was coming. So, like, as she is, like, you know, sitting on, like, a bench, she, like, grabs Dr. Kim's ponytail and, like, starts pulling her down. So funny. So, yeah, it's pretty funny because Dr. Pyo keeps encouraging Dr. Jang to use more strength. And at this point, she yells, "Fighting!" which is our Say what of the episode. What you say? Well, I'm just asking. Say what? Come on! So, have you seen... I feel like they haven't really said fighting a lot in this episode. So, fighting... or piting, or whiting. The different variations.
That's how you say it? Whiting? With the H?
I think you can say it like whiting, piting, fighting. Like, it's based off of the word fighting.
Okay.
It's kind of, I think, based on my, like, really basic research, the Hangul, like, so the Korean spelling of it sounds more like whiting, but the way they say it sounds more like piting.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you see this a lot in Korean dramas, and I guess just, I mean, obviously I haven't been to Korea, so I don't know if they say it like in general, but you see it a ton in dramas, and it's basically a form of encouragement, and it's loosely translated to like a "you can do it" or like "let's go, come on." And so then you can say it back to someone, meaning like "I will do it," like "yeah, I can do it." So you could say like "fighting," and I would like do it back to you.
Okay.
And it's generally accompanied with like a little fist, like fist pump. Yeah, like "I can do it," or like a thumbs up.
Okay. So we'll do that when we're working on the pod together.
Yes.
Fighting.
Yes. Or they'll say like "fighting, I'll work hard." And so it's hard to trace the origins, but a lot of people think it was brought over by the Japanese and Americans many years ago, and it may have started with boxing, like people yelling like "fight, fight," or like.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
Yes. So this is a classic Konglish term, which is like Korean English, and it's not really in a formal Korean dictionary. So it's a slang word.
Gotcha. Okay.
Basically.
All right.
But yeah.
Cool.
So if you watch more dramas, you will definitely see fighting. Yeah, there's I think it's in Suspicious Partner. They say it like 17 times an episode because
oh my goodness.
That's probably an exaggeration, but they're like lawyers, so they're always like fighting like before they walk into the courtroom and like before they go interrogate someone, they're like fighting all the fucking time. So yeah.
I'm gonna be saying that the Saturday before my show. I'm like fighting.
Yes, do it to everyone in the family.
They're like, what? So we then see Yeon being confronted by someone from the hospital about paying for the 2 windows that Lieutenant On broke. And her and Lee Chi-hoon and the hospital guy are all kind of arguing, and then Lee Chi-hoon gets the call that the baby's coming. And he's kind of like nonchalant about it. He's like, oh, baby? Okay. And at that same time, Yeon's looking at him like, the baby's coming? The baby's coming?
Like, she seems more excited.
Yeah. And so he goes, and she looks at the guy that's asking about payment for the windows, and she's like, the baby's coming! And she just runs away from this guy. I thought that was so funny.
She's like, it's a joyous occasion!
Great excuse to get away from this guy.
Totally.
We then cut to the North Koreans, and the North Korean trader guy is being a jerk, and he calls the South Koreans pushovers, and he thinks the farther apart the North and South are, the better. And then they talk a bit about the guy. The guy basically owns up to being a traitor, and he's going to have Lieutenant On killed. And then Lieutenant On tries to kill the bad guy, but he's shot. And he's standing there listening to everything while the guy's talking, and he's saying that, I forgot what he says, like, he wants his meal to be, like, what meal he wants left
the
for
buckwheat
him.
noodles.
That's right, yeah. So he says that, and then he says he's going to honor his country one last time by killing a traitor, and he, like, breaks the bottle, jumps towards him, and gets shot, and it's really intense.
Yeah, it all happens pretty fast.
Yeah, like, you're not expecting that shot to come through like that. I mean, you see the little pointer on his chest.
Yeah.
But you're still not expecting it to go down just like that.
Yeah.
And then after that, we see the North Korean bad guy and the South Korean rep talking during their meeting. And the North Korean guy keeps trying to make things difficult for the South. But then the South Korean stands up to him and he calls him out for being a traitor. Then he hands him a fancy tablet and it's got all this evidence from the chips that they were able to crack. And as he's trying to leave, the North Korean security guys come and tell him that he and Lieutenant On have been summoned to Pyongyang, and he's shocked that he's still alive. He's like, what?
Yeah, like, Lieutenant On is still alive?
Dun, dun.
Yeah.
It's that whole moment.
So then we get a little flashback to see how he survived.
This episode's full of flashbacks.
I know. My mom, I can't remember which drama my mom was watching, but her and her boyfriend were like, I can't keep track of what's real time and what's a flashback.
Is this a dream? Was this 10 years ago?
Was this only 5 minutes ago? What's going on? So, yes. So the flashback of how he survived. So, of course, Shijin and the Alpha team took care of everything. So, On was wearing a wire in the Chocopie that Shijin gave him. And so, while he was talking to the North Korean trader guy, he secretly gave Shijin the password, which was, I think, the coordinates of that hotel that they ate at with the noodles. And so right at the right moment, he gets the password. Shijin takes the shot. So he shoots him in a place that wouldn't kill him. And I was like, Jesus. Like, he couldn't have worn, what are those called?
Like a vest? Like
a vest.
But, like, has, like, a blood
Yeah, the blood
in it,
pack.
yeah.
I forget what they're called. They have a name. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But, yeah, because at first I was like, oh, that's not his real blood. But he's like,
That's
no.
what I was thinking,
he got
too.
Shot.
Straight up got shot.
Okay. So then On thanks Shijin for helping him go back to his country. And there's a really, like, heartfelt moment where he's, like, basically going on about how he'll, even if he dies, like, he'll die in his homeland, blah, blah, blah. And then he intensely eats the choco pie.
I like that you say intensely, because Andrew and I were watching it, and he's, like, opening the packet really, like, sort of aggressively, and he bites into it, and I told Andrew, like, and then we eat the wrapper, too, because he's, like, biting into the wrapper. It's so strange. I don't know if he was really hungry, or he just had, like, a lot of adrenaline.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know.
He just got shot, so maybe.
God.
With stuff like that, I'm sure he's gotten shot many times before based on the scars.
What Moyan was saying, too.
But, like, if I got shot, I would just be laying there like,
help.
Yes.
Help me.
I wouldn't be able to get up and be like,
and eat a fucking pie. Write a note.
Yeah. Like, Jesus. I don't know. It's a lot. So then Shijin and Daeyoung are scrambling to get Shijin back in his hospital bed before Moyan comes. Again, like, really frantic, but it's kind of has, like, a comedic air to it. And I like how they have that, like, 10 meters, 5 meters.
Daeyoung is just looking out there and he sees her and he's like, hurry up, come on.
I like how that's kind of like a running thing with them, like the 5 meters, 10 meters. And, basically, Shijin's like, I can't fucking get my pants off because he put his cast back on. And so they almost succeed, but then Moyan comes in and so basically she comes in and, like, Shijin is asleep. Or he's faking it. And Daeyoung's like, oh yeah, he's really tuckered out. And then she leaves and then she comes back in and they, like, have switched places because they're like...
Yeah, it's really funny. Like, Daeyoung is trying to help him out of his pants, which is already funny. But then when she walks in, I don't know what Daeyoung is thinking, but he just jumps in the bed for him and hides under the blanket. And Andrew was like, what? Like, what is happening here?
And then Shijin is holding the book.
Oh my god.
These two.
I love it. They're so cute.
Yeah. And then I love how Moyan calls them Dumb and Dumber.
And she's so serious about it too. She's just like, oh, fuck, man. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So before that, she is, like, really pissed when she comes back in the room. But, like, in one of those, like, I'm really disappointed in you kind of piss. Like, she's not yelling.
It's and like she's a mom pissed.
She says, quote, I forgot I'm at a disadvantage trusting people like this. Like, burn. And so, yeah, then she walks out. But like I said earlier, like, I love how funny the scene is between those two guys. Like, they get up to some real dumb stuff. And Daeyoung is really cute peeking out from the covers while Moyan is talking. So then Moyan meets up with Myungju downstairs, and Myungju kind of fills her in, like, on how her and Sae-young broke up. And Moyan says it makes sense. And that's when she calls them both Dumb and Dumber. Like, But I feel bad because she's like, y'all broke up? But I think it's also kind of funny how she's like, yeah, I get it. At the same time.
She probably wants to also right now at this moment. Myungju decides to go up to visit, and she's got a gift for Shijin, and it's a really awkward scene because you have Shijin in the middle, laying in bed, and then he has Sae-young to the left, Myungju on the right, and Shijin's kind of both looking at them, like, back and forth. He's almost like a kid.
Yeah, also because he's parents. Like, low in bed.
Yeah, like a sick kid, and mom and dad are fighting. And they're kind of just going back and forth about who's gonna leave and who's gonna stay with Shijin. And he tries to lighten the mood by bringing up a joke that they made earlier about Sae-young, which I don't remember what the joke was. Do you remember?
Basically, it was, like, Shijin saying, like... Because I think Moyan tells him, like, you're going to have to pay for the windows. And then Shijin's, like, tells Daeyoung, you should help me pay for the windows. Like, whatever, be a man. And Daeyoung says, but I'm not a man. And he does, like, kind of, I think, insinuates, like, acting like he's being gay, and he, like, tucks his hair behind his ear with, like, his non-hair. Yeah, with his, like, ring finger, which... Another side note, I had a sociology professor in college who did that a lot. And I always wondered if he was gay or not, because he said, like, he had a wife and kids. But he did that thing where he would, like, tuck hair that he didn't have. Yeah, invisible hair. Behind his ear with his ring finger, and then kind of, like, shake his head afterwards.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I don't know if it was just, like, a tick or something, but...
Maybe he used to have long hair.
Maybe. So, yeah, so...
Okay, so that's the joke.
He was calling him out and saying, like, oh, yeah, he's not a man, based on what...
Gotcha, yeah.
Kind of homophobic. Not great.
Myungju leaves, and Shijin asks again why they broke up, and then Seo-young reveals, like, he filed for discharge, and Shijin's kind of just like, what? Like, you didn't talk to me about it? Which, again, it's like that whole bromance thing, like, they're best friends, they love each other, they should have talked about this.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that all of this took place in, like, 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, from the time that Shijin, from when Myungju and Daeyoung broke up was, like, maybe 2 days ago at this point.
Because we see him when he's with the Snicker bars depressed.
Because it's, like, the next day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's when Shijin gets shot and all this other stuff happens. So he hasn't had really a chance to tell him technically.
Yeah.
But Seo-young just keeps telling him he's sorry. And then Shijin says to go after her since he loves her and risked his life for her. And then we see Myungju is hiding, and Seo-young finds her, but they're just standing on opposite sides of a wall trying to figure out what to do. And I don't know if she saw him. I don't know if that was, like, clear. It wasn't clear to me if she saw him or not.
It wasn't clear to me either. I couldn't tell, like, my interpretation was that she was just kind of, like, overwhelmed.
Yeah, and so she's kind of just hiding up against a wall.
Like, from everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he walked by and then realized she was there and just stood there.
Yeah.
And then while they're staring at each other, on the opposite side of this hospital waiting area, wherever they're at, we have Dr. Song and Nurse Ha, and they're talking to each other and watching them, and they're like, what do you think is going on? Very nosy, these people. And they're basically calling both of them a good man and a good woman, but they're also directing it towards each other and their sort of relationship. And it's a cute moment, just the way, like, I forget how it's all worded, but Dr. Song says something about how Seo-young is, and then she says something, and they're both saying it in such a way to where they're obviously truly, really talking about each other, being good people, and super sweet. And then he invites her to go car shopping with him, and they flirt a little bit, and he gets her to say she likes him, and it's really just cute. Like, please start dating and get married and be perfect.
Yes. Like, I like how, like, he really pulls it out of her at the car dealership. He was like, so you went car shopping with me? It must mean you like me. She's like, yes, I like you. Like, get over it. So cute. So then Yeon is walking around the hospital, and, like, on one of their big TVs, she sees an announcement about a successful North-South agreement to reunite families. And she's kind of, like, reflecting on everything that went down so that could happen. So then she goes to Shijin's room and says that she's going to spend the night since she is his guardian. And they flirt a little bit and talk about how Shijin's feeling down since he's worried about his friend. And I was wondering if you think that he meant On or Daeyoung. Because I think he said, like, I'm worried about my friend's life. So I didn't know if he meant On because basically On was like, even if I go back to North Korea, like, I still might be killed. Yeah. Or Daeyoung because, like, he's leaving the military.
Yeah. He could mean both.
Let's just go with both.
Honestly, yeah. I'd say both.
So yeah, he's feeling a little bit down. I guess after he's, like, come down from the high of all of that.
He's probably feeling all the pain now, too, at this point.
Yeah. So he tries to get her to sleep in his bed with him. But she's like, no, I'll take the cot next to you. And they talk a little bit more. They're doing that kind of, like, late night sleepover thing where they're kind of, like, almost asleep, but not really. And they're just kind of, like, talking. And I liked this part where she tells him that, like, Lee Chi-hoon became a dad today and how it's a boy. And Shijin says that his son will be cute like him. Like,
adorable.
Aww. Again, like, fucking Lee Chi-hoon almost didn't save this guy. Shijin thinks he's cute. So, and then Shijin apologizes for making Mo-yeon worry, and she brings up how he protected the peace and how he should not show up covered in blood if he wants to really be sorry. So before they fall asleep, he suggests that they watch a movie, or they watch the movie that they've been trying to watch for, like, the past...
Ever.
10 months.
Since they met.
And so they start the movie, but they fall asleep, and they're spooning in his bed, and it's really cute. And Mo-yeon has this voiceover at the end about how she wasn't sure who fell asleep first, but how she felt loved in his arms, and how they never made it to the end of the movie, and she wonders if it has a sad or happy ending. And then it's bam. End of episode. And then you're like, does this, like, do we not know if this show is gonna have a sad or happy ending?
Exactly. Ugh. I do like how it didn't leave us on an intense cliffhanger.
Yeah.
This time. Because we've been left on a lot of those lately, and then it leaves me, like, all like, ooh, what's happening?
Yeah.
Really uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I feel like it is another good one where you're like, okay, we're in a good place.
Yeah.
Let's keep watching.
Yeah. Everything's fine.
So, fashion notes.
Yes.
Yes, God!
I thought Jaeyoung looked really good in this episode in his all-black outfit.
Agreed.
Like,
also in his suit in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. All of them looked good in their suits. But yeah, I think Jaeyoung's almost wearing, they look like motorcycle jeans, almost. Like, they're, like, quilted in around the knee area, and his leather jacket. He looks really cool. And then I liked Mo-yeon's outfit when she finds out that Shijin and Daeyoung left the hospital. It's, like, really basic, but it's just, like, the salmon sweater and skinny jeans and sneakers. But I think it's funny how she's wearing more sensible shoes in Korea.
Because her feet are probably all fucked up.
From the earthquake.
From wearing that man's boots.
Yeah. I like, kind of rationalized it, like, well, maybe it's because now she's in the ER, but I'm like, what the fuck was she thinking wearing heels in Urk? It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
I can't get over it.
We'll have to ask her one day.
And then...
I noted Nurse Ha. I loved seeing her at the dealership, and she was wearing jeans, and I think she had a jacket on, but she had some really cute, like, brown sort of ankle heeled boots.
Oh, okay.
Her look was really cute. It was like a cute little date look.
I never seem to notice Nurse Ha's outfits, but when I go, like, kind of scrub through to get, like, the pictures for Instagram, I always notice her outfits, like, after the fact. But I think she has, like, a really interesting face, so I'm, like, always looking.
Yeah.
And her barrettes. I notice her barrettes a lot. But I'll have to check out her boots.
Yeah, it was a cute outfit. And I just liked seeing her in, like, skinny jeans.
Yeah. I'm like, these girls look good in skinny jeans. Wear them. So, I guess this will bring us to our I love you moment.
I love you.
I love you. I will always love you.
I love you.
Do you want to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
I will pick the end scene.
Okay.
With the two of them together. I thought that was really sweet. Just spooning with the person you like a lot in the beginning of your relationship. It's
Yeah,
really
and, like,
cute.
falling asleep watching a movie. It's really sweet. Yeah, I couldn't decide if I wanted to do a sad I love you moment between Daeyoung or Myungju or the happy one. Because, again, they both kind of gave me, like, feels.
Yeah.
Just, like, that moment of Daeyoung knowing where Myungju is and not being, like, certain whether or not he should go up to her.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously they still love each other, but they just can't make it work.
Figure it out.
Yeah. But I also was, like, I wanted to know whether you thought the end with Shijin and Mo-yeon, did you feel like it was a little foreboding with her voiceover, or did you just, like, find it cutesy?
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was really sweet, the things she was saying. But I was also thinking, like, I haven't heard a voiceover from her before.
Yeah.
So what does this mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It was really sweet, though. The
It
things
was
she
really
saying,
sweet, yeah.
Like, how she felt really loved, and like she's never really felt that loved like that before.
Mm-hmm. So sweet.
I don't know.
So, final thoughts. I was thinking how it's probably actually good that Mo-yeon got transferred to the ER.
Agreed.
Since she
Lee
was...
Ji-hoon would have let him die.
Yeah, since she was the one who got to work on Shijin. And I was wondering, like, okay, so maybe if Lee Ji-hoon wasn't there, like, if another doctor would have worked as hard to save Ji-hoon. Or Shijin. Probably
Yeah, I don't
not.
know, because it didn't look like anybody else was helping.
Uh-huh.
They were all just kind of watching. But I don't know if they were watching because she was so intense, because it's somebody that she knows and loves, you know? And she was obviously emotionally invested in saving his life.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was really awkward and uncomfortable to be in that situation.
Yeah, totally.
But also, I was thinking, like, a conflict of interest.
Yes.
Like, maybe she shouldn't be operating on the person she loves.
Totally.
You know, it's the same thing that we've talked about before with other instances where, like, should this be happening? Should this person be the one to do this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Any other final thoughts?
I just don't know where these final 2 episodes are going to take us. I thought our cliffhanger from last week with the hospital stuff was going to lead us to, like, the ending 3 eps.
Yeah.
But it just took this one, so I don't know where things are going to go now.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm so excited.
Man.
I feel like tears are going to be coming soon.
No.
That's all I'm going to say.
It's been such a journey
I know.
watching this series.
So fun.
Eee.
So, I am caught up on Encounter now.
Yes.
And I realized that the woman who plays Mo-yeon's mom also plays her mom in Encounter.
Interesting.
Like, it took me
That's funny.
Yeah, it took me a while because I was like, she looks familiar. I've seen her in another drama. And then I watched this and I was like, oh fuck, like, she plays her mom in
That's
both.
funny.
Yeah. But she's totally different. She plays a much bigger role. But she's like a terrible person.
I was wondering that because you said that Mo-yeon actresses, what's her real name again?
Song Hye-kyo.
Song Hye-kyo. That her character is divorced, right?
Yeah, so it's really good.
I need to watch
it's
it.
It's like just all romance, but it's really cute. It's kind of, I don't want to say slow, but it's like really mellow, and like the intense parts are basically people just like yelling at Song Hye-kyo about like
what she's doing wrong.
But it's cute. I really like it, and you get a lot of like cool shots of Cuba. And,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stills that I've seen, everything looks really pretty, and she looks gorgeous. And I know we talked about this recently where I sent you an Instagram post, and I was like, why does she look so fucking gorgeous here?
Yeah.
Like,
she looks younger.
She looks younger in these photos. Like, she doesn't look old in Descendants of the Sun at all.
No.
But in the photos, like some modeling stuff that she did, like she looks tall, like 7 feet.
Angles.
She looks gorgeous. Her haircut is really good on her. It's working for her.
Yeah. So watching Encounter also led me to like Google everyone because you know how I am, obsessive Googler.
You want to learn about everyone and everything.
Yes. So I didn't realize that Song Hye-kyo is like 5 years older than the guy that plays Shijin. Maybe not 5. It might be like 4, which is not that big of a difference to 5. So, and then Song Joong-ki is like 4 years older than Park Bo-gum. So like the 2 leads in Encounter, that's kind of the thing too. Like they have a pretty big age difference. But I was like, dang, I mean, again, 4 to 5 years isn't that much of a difference, but still, like, I feel like oftentimes older women, even by like that much, tend to not date guys younger than them. And I'm like, she still looks good. Like, she looks better than him.
Yeah, and also I was thinking like comparing her, and I guess many other North or South Korean actresses and stuff, or like people in like music or whatever, they have such like a great natural beauty about them. Whereas when you compare it to like American singers or actresses and stuff, they have this sort of like unfortunately, plasticky vibe about them a lot of the times, you know, like totally overworked and overdone and like tons and tons of makeup when it's maybe not that necessary. I don't know.
Yeah, like even the K-pop girls who like wear a lot of makeup,
they still look so natural.
Yeah, like it's all like the eyes, I feel.
They look very like dewy and just like fresh and clean. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of their thing. Like they think the contouring and stuff like kind of ages you, which I think it does.
It's too much.
Yeah. So she looks great.
Yeah.
So happy for both of them. So happy for their baby.
They seem super successful. They seem to be doing really great things in terms of their acting projects and everything they're doing. I don't know.
I saw that Song Joong Ki's gonna be in another drama, I think this year, and I think it's gonna be like a fantasy one where he's, I don't know, I just saw like a little blurb about it, but it seems interesting, so
all right.
we'll have to keep up with that.
Yeah, totally.
But I guess that brings us to the end.
Yeah.
If you want to chat with us about other dramas, feel free to follow us on Twitter at OKDramaPod and on Instagram at OKDramaPodcast. That's where you can find all of our like episode guides, like visuals, and our say whats. And you can also like us on Facebook, OK Drama Podcast there, and then email us your thoughts and feelings about K-dramas and life and Korea to okdramapodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting for fanfic. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep bringing that up every episode till I get some Blecky fanfic. The ghost of Blecky.
Oh my god, Blecky.
I really want some fanfic here. Come on.
Kim Ki-bum fanfic.
Yes, and some Kim Ki-bum and that other guy, Kang Min-jae. God, I just want all the fanfic.
I want Kim Ki-bum and Nurse Choi fanfic.
Yes, please. And I texted you that other time when I was talking to Andrew, and we came up with the idea of what if all of this was Shijin's dream?
Oh yeah.
In that first episode when he got stabbed in the gut, he became unconscious. So this is all a dream of his. He hasn't actually he met Moyeon, but just like as she was helping to save him.
Yeah, like all of the people in his dream are just like people in the hospital.
Because they're all in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if I mentioned this to you in that same text, but we also talked about this too, Andrew and I, that pebble is actually his what is it called?
Kidney stone?
No. No. On that fucking Leonardo DiCaprio movie where what is it called?
Inception.
What are their little things called?
Totems?
They're totems.
Yes.
Like, the little pebble, that fucking rock, not pebble, is his totem, and he's like drifting.
He keeps throwing it to people to see if it'll fall.
These are all so ridiculous. Somebody write this for me.
It sounds like you just need to write it.
I know. I'm gonna have to,
it.
and then I'm gonna send it to all of these people. Like, let's do this, guys. Descend into the sun too. It was all a dream. It was all Blecky's dream.
Blecky's dream. Oh god. Chwadi. All right.
Okay, I think that's it.
Okay, well, until next time, guys.
Bye. Ridiculous.